Are you a parent and you're wondering what instrument is right for my 5-year-old child? Well, you're going to want to watch this video, and in this video, I'm going to name the top 5 instruments for your early elementary child to play. Let's go. So choosing the right instrument can make all the difference in whether your child chooses to stick with the instrument or abandons it altogether. I'll start by saying there is really no right or wrong instrument. It's all about choice and what you want. The key thing that you want to do when trying new instruments is to have instruments that are vastly different from each other. So instruments like piano, string, and drums, and voice. Your voice is an instrument as well. So my top 5, I would say piano, guitar, violin, ukulele, and voice. We cannot forget the voice because it's very visual. You can look at a key and tell me what the name of that key is. Well, one, because it's very visual. You can visually look at the keys and play it, where opposed to some instruments, you can't do that. Like for a flute, for example, I play flute. I can't look at the keys and figure out what note that is. So I think piano is great for visual purposes and for practical purposes. To me, piano is like the foundational instrument, right? Like every singer, every instrumentalist, I know a lot of drummers that are pretty proficient in piano. So it's a good skill to have if you don't want to play piano as your main instrument. You may want to play trumpet as your main instrument, or you want to sing. It's always great to have that skill as a pianist. You can sing, you can back yourself up, you can play for various bands and groups. Reason being is because it's a chordal instrument. So it's a very, very useful instrument. So I would say number 1 instrument is piano for the visual components and for the foundational components. Another reason I would choose piano is because you get more instant gratification. Now let me explain. So if you're learning an instrument like a woodwind instrument, like a flute, it may take a little bit of time to kind of get that first note out. You may be winded, a little lightheaded. It may take you a few tries or even a few lessons to really get your first note. And if you're trying and it becomes difficult, a child could get discouraged, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to discourage the babies, right? So with the piano, you press a note and it's just an instant sound. So the instant gratification is there in terms of piano or keyboard. The next instrument I would choose is a ukulele. Yes, a little ukulele. I think ukuleles are so fun. I think kids have a really, really good and easy time with the ukulele, just kind of playing around. And I would also use it as an introductory instrument. So if they want to play something like violin or guitar in the future, they kind of know what the sounds of the strings are. And ukuleles are relatively, they're very affordable instruments. So you can get one, they can play around with it. If they by chance, mess it up or anything like that, no harm, no foul. It's a great starter instrument for them to learn and kind of just develop their ear to the sounds of the string and to just the sounds of notes. So I think it's a great instrument to start someone around the age of 4 or 5. A little smaller, it's a smaller instrument. So it's great for those, our friends that have little hands and little fingers. I think it's perfect for that. So drums, let's go with the drums. I think drums are a great instrument if you have a child that needs a bit of an energy release, as I should say. Or just percussion in general, like little hand percussions, hand drums, xylophone, triangle. And this doesn't have to be super formal. You can get a small music kit, percussion kit on Amazon or at your local music store, and you can just see what they like, what they kind of gravitate to. See, with percussion, it ranges. You have your drums, you have your metal percussion instruments, and with that, they can kind of develop their ear to different sounds outside of like a string instrument or a woodwind instrument or things like that. So I think drums are great. I think they're a great energy release. I think it's good for children that may have a little bit of aggression and they may need an outlet. Drums at that age, they're not super loud. They're very, very tempered. So they can just piddle pat, piddle pat, piddle pat as much as they want, and it gets that energy out, and it may make them a little tired. So I think that's a great idea. Drums, percussion. You can get a kit on Amazon or at your local music store. So guitar. Guitar is a great instrument to learn. I teach elementary music, and I often ask my children, you know, what instrument do you want to learn? My young students, like first grade, second, kindergarten even. Ask them, what instruments do you want to learn? What instruments do you like to play? And interestingly enough, about 50% of them will say guitar. Kids love guitar. And I think when they're old enough, they can start with guitar lessons. You know, it's a very, very beautiful instrument. Very, very beautiful. It's easier to learn than some instruments. It's also a really fun instrument. Guitar spans across so many genres of music. There's pop music, that's super fun. There's rock and roll, that's super fun for kids. So you give them a guitar and they'll probably feel like a rock star. Guitar, I like to call it a 2-in-1. They can play guitar and they can sing you a song while they're doing it. I had a student in the 4th grade, and for class we had a show and tell. And I said, guys, just bring your instruments at home, whatever talent you have. You're gonna show Miss Edwards, and we're just gonna sing and play and just do whatever you guys want. So I had a student, she was in the 4th grade. She's so cute and sweet. She brought in her acoustic guitar from home, and she sang a song on the guitar from a Disney movie. And it was just the most precious thing ever. So with guitar, it's easier to play and sing because you can just strum a few chords, and it is just it's great for the kids. For guitar, I would say you can start them around ages maybe around 7. So ukulele, you can start them a couple years younger, and once they get that ukulele, they can graduate to the guitar. So yay. Now this is by definition maybe not the instrument that you were thinking, but voice. We cannot forget about the voice. Our voice is an instrument. We all have our instruments right here. So I would say vocal lessons. If you notice that your child is really gravitating towards just singing, they have like a sweet little childlike voice, I would say singing lessons, or maybe join your local church choir, children's choir. Join a local one. It doesn't have to be specific to yours. Children's choirs, things like that, kind of get their vocal cords warmed up. And if they like it, then we can start like formal voice lessons or competitions and things like that. I think that is probably the easiest of them all, because we all have a voice, and who doesn't like to hear the sound of a child singing? I mean, it's just the sweetest thing. So voice lessons, do not overlook the voice. Our voice is an instrument. So I would say children's choirs and things such as that. Okay, so here's a bonus instrument. And this is sentimental to me because it was my first instrument ever. I would say recorder. Add recorder to that list as one of the first instruments that they can learn, or as an introductory instrument. Reason being is recorder is super, super cheap. You can get it on Amazon for just a few dollars, and they can just kind of play around with it. They're developing their breath control and lung capacity without them even knowing it. You don't really even need a instructor, at least not at this level. Maybe like 4 or 5 or 6 years old, they can start playing recorder. And now when they start playing recorder, you may want to make sure you have the babysitter available. Go out for a date night or something like that. Recorder is it's an instrument that can get pretty loud, and it is very, honestly, it can be quite annoying. A recorder is like a preparatory instrument. It prepares them for other wind instruments like flute, saxophone, trumpet, which is what I did. I did recorder for 2 years at the DC Youth Orchestra, and after those 2 years, I had graduated to playing flute at 8 years old. So I started the recorder at 6. and I was pretty formally taking lessons. But you don't have to do that. I would say just hand them the recorder and see what they do with it. See, do they just let it collect dust, or do they actually enjoy playing the instrument? Do you have to tell them, okay, did you play your recorder? Did you practice today? What did you do today? Or did they voluntarily do it themselves? That's a big indicator on gauging their interest level in music, not just recorder, in music in general. And if they don't really practice the recorder, they may not be into it and just move on to the next one. So as I leave you, I will say one thing that I heard from a mentor of mine, and they told me doing leads to discovery. Oh, that's good. You got to write that one down. Doing leads to discovery. So let them do as much as they possibly can. If they want to do violin, they're not feeling it. Okay, move on. If they want to do piano, they're not feeling it. Okay, move on. Maybe they want to sing. So let them just do things, and in that discovery, they will discover what they like and what they don't like. So, and I think that applies to not just children, but to all of us really. So just let them do things. It's never a bad idea to start a child on an instrument. It's never a bad idea too late or too early to be creative. It's never a bad idea to develop a new skill within a child, no matter what age. And the beautiful thing about music and learning an instrument is that it translates to various aspects of life, to various aspects academically, socially. You're learning to play with an ensemble. Creatively, they're developing that creative brain. So no matter what instrument you choose, whether that be piano, guitar, ukulele, voice, recorder, it's not going to go to waste. It will serve them in other aspects of life. If you're a parent, or if you're a parent, any sort of parent, homeschool, world school parent, and you're looking to get your young child enrolled into online music courses from the ages of 4 to 10, click the link down below. All right. See you, friends. Bye for now.